Elf Giggles. It was Christmas Eve, and the little house at the end of the snowy street was finally quiet. The tree in the living room twinkled gently, the stockings hung in a neat row, and the fire made tiny, sleepy pops in the fireplace. Mum and Dad whispered, "Good night." The children cuddled into their blankets, and even the family dog gave a long, happy sigh. Nobody knew that under one shiny golden star ornament, something very small was just waking up. Inside that ornament lived a tiny Christmas elf called Jingles. When the last light in the house clicked off, Jingles stretched his arms, straightened his green hat, and hopped out onto a tree branch. He looked around with bright, twinkling eyes. "A perfect house for some gentle giggles," he whispered. He brushed a bit of glitter from his trousers, made sure no one was watching, and tiptoed across the branch toward his first idea. On the rug by the tree, the dog was curled up, snoring soft, woof, woof, snores. Jingles spotted a bowl of marshmallows on the table and grinned. He carried them one by one and began to stack them carefully on the dog's back. Soon there was a marshmallow mountain, a fluffy white tunnel that arched over the dog's head. The dog twitched an ear but did not wake up, and Jingles had to cover his own mouth to keep from laughing out loud. Next, Jingles padded into the quiet hallway where all the shoes slept in a row. He picked up a brown boot, toddled to the kitchen, and opened the cool fridge with both hands. In went the boot, right next to the milk. Back and forth he walked, putting shoes in the fridge and then placing cookies neatly where the shoes had been. "When they reach for their shoes, they will find biscuits instead," he snickered, wiggling his pointy ears. In the dining room, a bunch of bananas waited in a fruit bowl. Jingles found a marker lying on the table and tapped his chin. Some company for breakfast, he decided. On the first banana, he drew enormous sleepy eyes. On the second, an angry, scrunched-up face. And on the third, a huge, happy grin with a tongue sticking out. He lined them up in a row so that in the morning a whole banana family would be staring at the children. Back in the living room, the chairs stood very straight and serious around the table. Jingles thought they looked a little too grown up. He found a box of colourful ribbons and tied one end to a chair leg. Under chairs, around table legs, and across the floor he went, weaving red, blue and yellow ribbons into a zigzag maze. When he was done, the room looked like it was wrapped up like one giant present. Jingles dipped his hand into his pocket and pulled out a handful of tiny paper snowflakes. "Time for a little indoor snow," he whispered. He tossed the flakes into the air and spun in a slow circle. Snowflakes floated around the tree, over the rug, and past the fireplace, landing softly on cushions and stockings. The whole room looked like a snow globe that had just been gently shaken. On his way back to the kitchen, Jingles noticed the fruit bowl again. The bananas already had faces, but the apples and oranges looked cold. From his tiny sack, he pulled miniature hats and scarves and tucked them around the fruit. Soon, an orange wore a red hat with a pom-pom, and an apple had a blue scarf wrapped snugly around its middle. Jingles stepped back and nodded. "Now everyone is ready for winter," he said quietly. At last, Jingles yawned. Night was almost over. He sprinkled a little trail of glittery footprints from room to room and hurried back up the tree into his ornament. When the sun finally peeked through the curtains, the house slowly woke up. The children ran into the living room and stopped. They saw marshmallows on the dog, ribbons everywhere, silly banana faces, and fruit in tiny hats. Mum and Dad came in behind them, and soon the whole family was laughing so hard that even the dog woke up and sneezed a marshmallow right off his nose. As the laughter faded into happy chatter, a gentle sparkle appeared on the mantel. For just a moment, the children could see Jingles standing there, waving with his little hand. Beside him lay a tiny note that read, "Thank you for the giggles. See you next Christmas." Then he jumped, light as a snowflake, back into his ornament on the tree. The house grew calm again. The fire crackled softly, and the children snuggled in, already dreaming about the night when the little Christmas elf would come back with a whole new bag of gentle, sleepy time mischief. New bedtime stories every week. Subscribe so you never miss a dreamy adventure.